Welcome back to The Virtual Compound. Today, we're sharing the story behind our podcast name, The Virtual Compound. Hello, ladies.
Hello.
Hello.
For everyone out
It
there, I am Katie.
I'm
Oh.
Amelia.
Lacey. And Amelia. We are doing this over Zoom as usual because we're in 3 different places. I am in sunny, not so much right now, Southern California. It is 4 p.m. here.
I am
Where is it for you?
in
What time is it for you?
dark outside Maryland. It is 7 p.m. and
I am in Okinawa, Japan. It is 9:17 in the morning. And it is overcast and 72.
72.
Ooh.
Look at you. The high today was like
Fahrenheit.
40 for us.
A day ahead of us by like 12 hours or
Yes,
14 or
I am in the future.
mapping. Yes.
Yeah. 14 for me.
Well, and the minutes are the same, but we were being approximate. So
Yes. And I'm going to be doing this while I'm getting ready
Perfect. Life as life. I love it.
for the day.
Works out well though.
If I want to be ready for the day and do this, I have to do this and be ready at the same time because there's only so long my children will leave me alone.
And they probably don't realize you're talking to us, which is why they're leaving you alone. And they're like, Mom does this every day. No one
Yes.
cares. She's getting ready.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Such is
thought I'd
life.
have like someone to like run interference, and I don't. So
Well, if we've got little voices to chime in on the things, then we have little voices to chime in. It'll be fine. It'll be all good
yes.
and fun. I mean, it kind of all evolved around our love or some sort of love of children to begin with, how we ended up here and why we're planning and to try to stay together through the whole thing for the
I
rest
love
of
your
time.
This is true.
And my own children.
Right. But then in turn, we love your children when we're feeling rather frustrated with our own children. So it just is a lovely triangle, which, is the strongest shape in the world.
Which is why if we all lived together, we could just send the children that annoy us to someone else's house.
Yes. Or to the
Because they're not
clubhouse.
annoying that person at the moment. And you send
Well-
then when they start annoying you, you send them to another house until you like circle back to the original. And then you're not annoyed anymore because they've been away for several hours.
Well, in last episode, we kind of covered the beginning of the studio and the origins of OSPA. And that was really the catalyst for our bonding, or I guess Amelia would probably call it more of a trauma bond than anything else.
Yeah, that probably would be an accurate description.
Yeah, I would say that's very accurate. Yeah.
Well,
I mean, living on base is almost like it, except that you have other people there that you can't kick out.
Yes.
Yeah, people in the civilian world, they do kind of have this sense and understanding that the military is different. And I guess television shows, I never watched it, but Army Wives probably does like a decent job like showing the cohesion of like families within different areas, or like the unit or something where like families bond. And when you go overseas, you do typically find friends that you really bond to because you can't interact on a instant basis necessarily with those overseas, and you need somebody there, especially in Okinawa, for the emergencies and whatever. So starting the studio was completely different because it was through MCCS and it was with military, and it wasn't like you own the studio, you have these other regulations that are on top of you. That all of those things kind of compiled and made it so difficult that Amelia just kind of latched on to Katie at first, be my brain.
Yay! I still am waiting for my shirt, Amelia.
You know, I actually have it.
Do you?
Hold on, I think. No, it's downstairs, and
Oh.
I'm not gonna brave going downstairs right now because
No,
they'll
that would
find me.
be yes, and then
But
this will not
I
finish.
do. I have it. I need to send it to you. It's coming in a box.
Okay.
I'm like preparing boxes.
Oh, you're getting much better at the boxes. Your box has been sitting there waiting to get to you for a month. But if we
Well,
were on the
it's Sakura
compound, I wouldn't
season.
have to do that.
It's
I'm 2
Sakura
months
season,
behind.
so you're getting like Sakura themed boxes.
I'm so excited.
Oh,
He's like the
you're on top
best.
of it.
I feel really bad for like the boys, like Brody,
Oh,
because it's like, what pink flower thing do you want, teenage boy?
Food.
Like,
which
well,
wouldn't make it very well.
I kind of give Josh
No.
like 1,500 yen, which sounds like a lot of money, but it's like $10. I kind of give Josh like 1,500 yen, and I'm like, go forth and pick for Brody. And sometimes he's like good, and then sometimes he comes back and he's like 9-year-old boy, and like
Yeah.
9-year-old boy, like yes, but like teenage boy, probably not. But Brody's like such a sweet kid that anytime Josh like brought him anything or like shared anything with me, he's like, yeah, I love that too. I'm like, yes, when you were 9, you probably did. But this like
Yeah.
convinced Josh in his like heart, soul, mind, body that like everything he likes, Brody likes. Like
Brody
thus,
likes.
Brody got like a Matchbox car from Josh recently.
Yeah.
And I couldn't talk this child out of this, and it was so sweet. And I was like, okay. So I made
You know
it up
what, though?
with the tiny little ninja sword.
Yes, it's okay though. Like when Brody was like 2 and Jeremy was buying Brody Matchbox cars, and that whole thing started, there were a couple that Jeremy bought because he thought they were cool, and they still sit on our dresser because he thinks they're cool. So like,
I mean,
I like them because they're pretty colors.
I feel like we should not tangent into the car thing, but I feel like we all have enough like car related trauma that we could probably do like an episode on like coming from Okinawa and just like not caring about the vehicle you drive. Like, does it have AC?
Yeah.
Does it run? Is it less than $3,000? Buy it.
Yeah.
And then you go to
Yes.
America and it's like different. And then your husbands, because I think collectively all of our husbands did this thing where it's like 8 months out, let's start talking about cars, or let's talk about cars until we've worn you down so much you'll literally drive like anything. Because I had opinions. I'm not even moving anytime soon. My husband started this 2 years ago. I had opinions and now I don't care.
That's what happened to me. I was literally making Penelope's birthday cake the day before her first birthday. Jeremy's out buying cars. We'd been in the States like 3 days. I was at my friend's house and he like had talked about cars since we found out. And it wasn't 6 months because we did not know that we were leaving. And I was like, I don't care. I don't care what you buy. Like, buy anything. We just need a car. Like, I don't care. We have 7 people in our family. Just get a car. And I knew we'd have to buy one for the oldest, and we wanted to do that. And so, whatever. And so he sends me a picture of a red Honda, and I hate red cars. I really do. But he sends like the maroon red hoopty. Like he literally sends me a picture of a hoopty. It's got the faded paint. It's red. It's a Honda Odyssey, and I don't want another minivan. But at this point, I don't care. And I'm like, awesome, great. Sign the paper. I'm making the cake. I don't care. And he's like, well, I need you to come drive it. And I was like, no, you really don't. Buy the car. I don't care. Like, yay, we have a car. And then he tricked me and was messing with me and got me like the new Pilot, which I absolutely love. But oh my gosh, I literally got to the point where I didn't care that I was driving a red hoopty. Like it faded paint, everything. I was done because that conversation. And then I still kind of had that PTSD when Amelia would be like, Sam's talking about cars again.
Right. Yeah, that was epic. See, we ended up in a slightly different situation in that we managed to get my car before we left. Like we did the auto source and we did it. It was kind of though, like I kind of let him choose what it was because the cars that were listed were not cars that existed before we left. Like my car was not a thing when we left. And I love my car, but then we get back and we're living in New York, and he's like, I'm going to take transit anyway because I can't park. I'm not going to get a car for a while. We'll save up because it was a ridiculous amount to buy the car. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And then he gets a Mara Oki car. And so it's like our version of an Oki car, but it costs $13,000 and that thing doesn't run. It is currently taking up a ridiculous amount of space in the garage, and we have bought another car since then.
And that's why you can't put your Christmas decorations away.
Yes, that is why the other half of the garage, so it's taking up one whole side. The other half of the garage is full of the bins and other random things that need to go in the attic because the Porsche, yes, everyone, it's a Porsche. That sounds cool. It's not. It's really not. Is sitting under the attic access. And so it's just I don't know when it's gonna move. Don't know. But
Never. It's gonna be in your life forever.
I know it probably will be. I really need
Be
some.
Zoe's first car.
I need what we really need is for it to get fixed. I mean, like fix the current problem, and then it's going to the lemon lot on base for some like boot kid with his signing bonus who actually has like the time to go and want to work on the car, and then it will be great. It'll be great. But just think if we were all together in one place, maybe we could
This
I
find
wouldn't be a
know.
somebody
problem
that could
because
do
we could have
this.
like one giant vehicle for children.
Oh, and we could have this like storage facility for
Yes.
like
Yes.
decorations and stuff by season.
That'd be amazing.
And we could color code. Every family could have their own color boxes, and then we just know whose is whose.
That'd be
I
great.
love that.
And then we
love
could
it.
send the kids out and be like, guys, pull this season out.
Yeah,
Yes. Well, and this
Right.
whole idea of the compound was Amelia's.
it was.
Yes.
Yes.
It's
Because-
so I mean I guess it like the deep roots of this is like I grew up without extended family around. So like this isn't like traumatic or anything like that. Like we don't need a trigger warning. It's just like we lived several states away from my extended family, and then in the case of my dad's side, like they're in a different country. So I didn't have extended family and like cousins and all this stuff like around. And we didn't even see them on major holidays because back in ye olden times, in the 90s, plane tickets were incredibly expensive and like traveling several states via car, you did, but maybe once a year. And we didn't even do it then because my dad would rather have used his vacation time to travel to a different country. So we did that. And I've always every military base you go to, you kind of like make this little like pod of your people. And since Sam and I got married, and we've always, well, except for one duty station, we've always wound up on base. And you really do, like, your street, your little neighborhood becomes like your like hood, unless you create your own. And we've been always really lucky, and we've had such amazing, awesome neighbors. Shout out Bevan Street Biker Gang, Camp Lejeune. But it's like, and it's also like a cultural thing, right? Like you see it all the way on Instagram, and it's like normalize.
Yeah.
Have it like you and your friends buying land and like just living next to each other, and like, yeah, that should be normal. We should do
100%.
that because one, that sounds frigging amazing. Two, I'm gonna circle back to one, and then three, like all the things that you always want, like older kids for your kids to learn from, and younger kids for your kids to learn to take care of, and
yeah,
like someone to be like, I literally cannot right now. I need like 15 minutes, but you also need adult supervision. So could you like go to that house?
Yeah.
And like having
well, and somebody you trust that it's like,
yeah,
That's a big point.
you trust like your kids just like open the door and come in and they're like, I made mommy not happy and she needs some calm down time. So I'm gonna be here for a little bit. Like my kids would just like they owned Lacey's house. Just like walk in and be like, hi, Pop-Tart.
and they'd go into the cabinet where they are, and they
Yes.
knew they came to my house, they got Pop-Tarts, and like that was the thing, because we
Yeah.
have teens, we have to throw food at them, like they can have whatever they want. And they would just come in, and there was one day I was like in the back putting the baby down, and you're like, are you home? Clara just like walked in. I'm like, yeah, I'm in back. She's like, okay. And I know you guys like often did this too. You had it like
Yeah.
where one of you was like teaching, and then the other one would show up. You would trade off kids, and then you like Katie would leave with the kids, go to Amelia's house like for dinner, and then like carry on. And it was just kind of like, I love that. I mean, my kids were much older, so I was very fortunate this tour to like leave them at home and like run everywhere. But I think that that's amazing. And
Yeah.
I would love that, but I don't ever want to leave here because it's cold everywhere else.
Well, that's okay. That's why we have decided that we will have 2 compounds, and
Yes.
they will be vacations to each other. We just haven't decided where the other compound's going to be yet. I'll have to
We're
figure
just
that
gonna
out.
have
Yeah.
to convince the husbands.
I think we can do
Mhm.
it.
I think we can do it.
That's a lot of work. I mean, they all get along, so like that's really awesome. They're all like in the same field, and
But at the same time, they
that's
could
awesome.
also
But
have their own like man caves where if they don't want to people, because half the time they get to the point that they don't want to people, fine. You don't have to people. Just like,
Go there.
yeah,
Yep.
there you go. And I
That's
There is
still,
no people.
yeah. And I still like
Yeah.
the idea of having like a clubhouse. It's like our compound, and but then we have a central clubhouse where, like, if when we want to come together, we can do it there, and we don't have to worry about our own houses. And then,
Yeah.
or we can stay in our own house for whatever the event is. And if we want to do a big
And-
Christmas, we don't have to have everybody in our house and have something ginormous. It's a lot of
This
requirements.
Yeah.
is like, I would love to claim this as like my own original idea, and it's just so not. It's like so many places on the internet, and I saw one, and it was like they all have like golf carts,
Ooh,
and they're like pimped out golf carts to like drive to other
Yes.
people's houses, and I'm like,
yes, please.
there's like a central like giant playground for the kids, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I
Like make the
want
kids
to
a
be-
roller coaster.
yes, I want to be the person that comes up with this, and I'm just not, and I cannot claim this as my own idea, but it's such a good idea.
Doesn't mean we can't like make it better.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the other potentials, he was like, "Well, what about the Chick-fil-A?" I was like, "Actually, that's brilliant. We put the Chick-fil-A at the end, like not on the compound, because we want the public to come to the Chick-fil-A. And so we'll like take turns, doing what we have to do with the managerial stuff, but then the public is what's funding the compound." I'm like, "That's amazing. Then we can have all the Chick-fil-A that we want, and we don't have to
Can I be
necessarily
the cow?
deal with
I don't
them."
want to manage anything. I
No.
just want to be the cow.
That's fine. You can be the cow.
I love it.
That would be
I
amazing.
want to do no managing.
Be the
of
cow that
anything.
does ballet.
Ever again.
Yes.
I'll
We
wear
can-
a tutu. Like I'll wear the cow costume and a tutu. I want to manage nothing. And people constantly ask, like, "Oh, are you gonna like do a studio again? Are you gonna do this again?" I'm like, no.
No.
Only
want
if
to
Katie
manage
and Lacey make me.
This many people. I want
Yeah.
to this many. I want to manage no one ever again. And I will be the cow. And I'll wear the cow costume with a tutu.
Nice.
It's funny that you're talking about Chick-fil-A because the first time I ever gave my kids Chick-fil-A, we had gotten back from Okie, and they were not impressed. They are not Chick-fil-A people.
Okay. That's fine.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, they'd still work there, but
I would say they don't have to like it for it to still make money for the compound to
Yeah.
keep it going.
no, for sure.
They don't
So
have to
we
like it.
had Chick-fil-A after like we got everyone that was here during COVID basically got like stuck in Okinawa. And after 2 years we were able to go home. And first thing we do obviously, right, is like go to Chick-fil-A because home for us is Texas. So we go to Chick-fil-A and Josh pulls out like his French fries that he remembers America and Clara does not. So he pulls out his French fries and like he
Mhm.
remembers the Chick-fil-A French fries and he's like excited about it and he goes, "My fries are wet." And Chick-fil-A doesn't actually have like super greasy fries or anything. And Clara's like, "Yeah, my nuggets are wet." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, like everything in Japan is like not as greasy at all." And I never considered Chick-fil-A to be greasy, but compared to everything we had in Japan, it is.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then I was on
Yeah.
the quest to find my drink in America was from Sonic or Chick-fil-A, half sweet, half unsweet tea with extra lemon.
Okay.
And I don't know if it was just like Japanese people don't use as much sugar or I remember this as being really great and it's not. And everywhere I went, it was like undrinkable and I was
Yeah.
legitimately upset about it.
I
Like,
remember that actually. I remember talking to you
yes.
like the night after you got back or something, or it was like a couple nights after. You're like, "Katie, I'm so disappointed." And you had like half of a margarita or something. You were like,
Yes.
I can't, like, You were
All the
just like,
sugar.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, and like
Well,
I love margaritas, and it was so I was like legitimately disappointed because like that's what I was looking forward to so much, like a really great margarita and a sweet tea, and it was not what I remember, and I was like, "There's what am
yep.
I? Why am I here?"
Well, and that's because the Japanese, like, they don't really sweeten
Yeah,
anything like
yeah,
the way America does. I mean, and when they do, it's like real sugar, so it's
yes,
Yeah.
not as sweet. I mean, well, and you know that. I mean, you don't even really love a lot of sweet stuff. Like you
no,
prefer like the Danish chocolates and sweets
yeah,
too.
yeah. I like the not like less sweet, like not as sweet. Josh was reminding me of like my quest for Starbucks
Mm,
in America, and it was that also really disappointed me because
Oh, what about
it's so sickly sweet. Even
Yeah.
like I don't get sweet drinks, and it's so sickly sweet.
what about
I
the
always decreased
like
the
the
amount of pumps every time. Even before we went, I had started doing that because it was too much. But then coming back, although in Japan it wasn't as sweet, but then I couldn't taste the coffee, which is like my own thing. Like I'm getting it. I want the taste of the coffee. So I still wasn't totally sold on Japanese Starbucks either. I went for their sausage rolls and
The sausage pie,
yeah,
the food.
the food.
it's delicious.
Mm,
Can you figure out how to get me one of those, please? I would really like one of those
I
right now.
will do my
I'll make
gosh
one for you.
darndest.
Okay.
Josh says he'll make one for you.
Thanks, Josh. That's
You're welcome.
amazing. There was something you said that like triggered me. Oh, no. So we can have two things. We can have a Chick-fil-A and then either Family Mart or Lawson's, like the first ones in the States.
Dude, we want to bring back Family Mart and create a chain like they did Daiso because like I miss going and getting either onigiri or some like
Yes.
yakitori and then a cup of veggies. Like
Yes.
Yes.
it's so easy and cheaper, like eggs. I miss going and being able to get like gas station food when we go on a hike and I don't feel like crap and it's not fried food and bagged and packaged and
Right.
processed. Yes, that's definitely one thing that Jeremy and I have talked about doing is like trying to find a way to franchise Family Marts in America.
I would love to
I
do
think
that.
because I mean I think Katie experiences this also because like the age of our children. Like Josh
Yep.
kind of gets it now, but Clara fully does not understand that when we go back to America, they're like, is not this stuff?
Right.
And she's like,
Yeah.
well, we can just stop at Family Mart. No, we can't because it doesn't exist. She's like, well, we'll just stop at a gas station, like a convenience store. I'm like, no, because we'll get food poisoning.
Well, and it's worse because we have 7-Eleven. And so, like
Oh, yeah.
Zoe, Lexi, because the 7-Eleven only opened like partway through, and we didn't ever go there because I didn't like their egg sandwiches as much. Not sorry, not sorry. I
Yeah.
just not.
You mean
But
the
They're not as
Tamago
good.
Sando, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Because
Um,
aren't they sweeter there?
no, they had something else in them. It wasn't just sweet. I feel like
Okay.
they added dill or they added something else. And I know some people do that,
Gotcha.
but I just didn't like it. Like
They're not
I
as
want,
good. I
yeah,
don't like
they're
them.
not as good.
Yeah.
And the frustrating thing is if you see anybody who's in Japan on Instagram, they're always going to 7-Eleven. I'm like, no, don't go to 7-Eleven.
That's not.
Which I'm like, don't do that. Go to Family Mart or Lawson's, like the actual things that were started in this country, Japan, not this one, and not the one that's there. But people compare them. I'm like, no, they're not the same. Like not anywhere close to
They're
the same.
not.
I would still go. My 7-Eleven in Japan used to have uh Michelin star ramen that you could get
Hmm.
because it was a guy in Tokyo who's a Michelin star, and they had a
Yeah.
contract with him, and they would do the instant ramen through that. And my brother loved it so
That's cool.
much that right before we left, he sent me $200 to just buy as much as we could and send it back. So I just went, and they don't keep a whole lot on the shelves because the bowls are kind of big. So
Yeah.
I had to go back like every day for like a week and just like empty
Yeah.
their shelves of all of
That's
that
amazing.
ramen like every day. But
Yeah.
yeah, let's just do that instead. We can either do that and a Chick-fil-A or
Yep.
or
Do
we
both of
just
them.
do
What team, like, because there is a divide.
there's
Team
divide.
Family Mart or Team Lawson's.
I know.
I am
Yeah, but
staunchly
Family
Team
Mart
Lawson.
has better stuff. I don't know.
I
Family
am
Mart has
I am
better swag.
yeah, Family Mart has better swag,
They do.
but like Lawson's food greater than Family Mart food.
Certain things,
Lawson's
100%.
Some of it.
chicken
It depends.
is so much better than Fammy Chicky, and I will literally like no one can
Die
convince
on
me.
that hill.
I
I
will die on that hill.
I usually would go, I mean, I like those. I do think I agree with you on that one, though. Zoe loves the Family Chicky, and that's like
Yeah.
her thing.
And I mean, the big thing with, I think people would appreciate, I mean, there's a lot of people that do the anime thing. We never got on that train. So a lot more of like younger people like the anime culture and Japanese culture in general because of anime. But I think that Family Mart would be a stellar business model here because of the seasonal thing, just like Starbucks Japan does. I mean, and that was one of the great things my kids loved going to Starbucks for, was like the soda shop frappuccino and this, like every season they come out with something new. And I think that that's a really genius like marketing plan, but
Yeah.
that's kind of going down a rabbit hole.
That is kind of
Marketing.
going down a rabbit hole. It is Sakura season, as
I
I said
know.
before.
Did I send
I-
you a picture
yes.
of what I wanted? I took a picture of it. Did I send it
No,
to
you
you?
didn't. You need to send me a picture
I'll
of what
send
you
you.
want.
Yes.
But I, as I'm the only one left here, I've been taste testing the drinks, and not that y'all care that much, but I do send videos of when I taste test the
Mhm.
drinks.
It was
I hate like gelatinous texture. I
Me
don't
too.
like Jello. I don't. I will eat mochi when like given it in situations because I have a Southern mother who like looked at me across the table at like dinner parties and things like you're gonna
Like eye cheese.
you're gonna eat
we
that.
just talked about this at dinner last night. Abby
Yeah.
was like emulating the same face and like just did that.
Yeah, like you will eat that. And so
Yeah.
I eat it, but I don't like it. And Japan loves this texture. Like Japanese people love this texture. There's like sodas that you can get in the vending machines that have like little
Mhm.
pieces of like Jello stuff in it.
Oh
They do
yeah,
it with
they
coffee.
do.
The first time we were there, I had a coffee with
Yes.
the jelly in the bottom, and I was, what is that? Like it was sweet and it was weird, but it was
Yes.
coffee. It was
Well, and
So
they sell
all the
just
fun-
Jello coffee, which actually
Yes.
I like it like that, but I don't
Yeah.
like it in my drink.
no, gross.
Mhm.
All the fun Starbucks drinks, especially the frappuccinos, they always have some sort of like gelatinous something in it. And
Mhm.
because I'm a glutton for punishment, I guess, I always try these drinks. And now that y'all have gone, I try them on Marco Polo. And
No
something to
worries.
know is
I will share it with the world because it was
I
hysterical.
love it.
And it's
And-
wonderful. I
Mhm.
love it.
I know that there is like it. I don't know. Maybe I trick myself into being like, this one's gonna be all right, and it never is.
Yeah.
It never is. Like the Halloween Frappuccino,
Oh.
it started off so strong. It really did. It started off so strong, and it had this like frozen pumpkin pie flavor, and then all of a sudden you get like this big glob of like
Pumpkin
So
pie.
gelatinous pumpkin something.
I totally forgot about your reactions on that one. That one was even better.
It is awful. And I know that there are people that like that, and so I'm not like discounting their experience. Just like personally for me, I cannot do the gelatinous flavor. And then we did when we were doing the Sakura drink, the one hot one. I don't think it's a coffee drink, but it has these little flecks of like something that they put in it, and I was like, oh, that's fine, whatever. But as the flecks get like heated up by the milk, they turn into gelatinous something.
Well, they're supposed to
So
be
you have these, like,
dongo.
giant globs of like gelatinous the drink kind of tastes like hot cherry milk.
Well, isn't
And
that
then the dango one, dango,
Dango.
however, yeah. Mm, mm, mm. Mm, mm, mm. Mm, 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 mm. Yeah, my children they found me. They also remember the Halloween incident.
I remember
The Christmas drinks are good. They haven't screwed up a Christmas drink yet.
Well, I remember when we went to Tokyo for your birthday, we got the cherry blossom one up there, and it was kind of that one. That's the one that I've liked the most. I mean, obviously, I'm not there to try it this year, but that was the one that I actually liked.
That was good though because it was like a coffee
Yeah,
cherry blossom like hot one.
yeah.
But
It had a
this
tree
new
on
one-
top of it. It was really cool.
Yes, this one is
Oh,
like
that's
hot.
awesome.
Like imagine you had cherry cereal and you put it in the bowl with milk,
And
and
they
then you
took the
take
milk
the
out.
cereal out, and then you heat up that cherry milk.
Ugh.
That's what
That's
it is.
gross. So it was
It's
like a Fruit Loop
honestly-
hot milk, basically.
Yes. It's, and you
Gross.
know what? It's the sweetest thing I've ever had.
Sweeter than the watermelon one?
Yes.
Because that one, ooh.
The watermelon one was,
I love that you tried it for me, though.
Yes. Thank you very much for trying it. It's super awesome.
you are welcome. It is a pleasure to serve.
Thank you for your
You're
service.
welcome for my service. It's funny. We went to the new Sano, which is a hotel for those of you that don't know in Tokyo, and you have to be a military member to stay there or retired from the military. I stayed with one of my friends, and you can have guests there. My friend is not military related, and she was like, "Oh, like I don't think I'm qualified to stay." I was like, "No, you don't, but because of me, you do."
You do.
And she was like, "Oh yeah." I was like, "Actually, because of Sam. Thank him for his service."
Did she? Please tell me
She
she did.
did!
Yes!
I mean, she
Yes!
has known me longer than Sam has, though. So like, and she's known Sam for as long as I've known Sam. So it's a really interesting dynamic to like be around someone who's known you
Yeah.
and like your husband as long as you have. Like that's such a strange like
Yeah.
dynamic. But he comes in the room and we were getting ready for Taylor Swift, and she's like, "Thank you for your service, Sam," and he's like, "It's like
Well,
she's known us for so long and she's never thanked him for his service."
yeah.
Amazing.
It was fun.
I mean, at least she knows your personality. But I mean, I think all of our husbands kind of react that same way.
Yes.
Not all
Yes.
service members are like, love to hear that.
Oh yeah, he's
Very
like, "You're
much.
welcome."
I'm like,
I think.
and
And
Right.
don't. Like they do like at football games and baseball games or whatever. They'll be like, and all the, veterans and service members stand up. And Jeremy resolutely stays sitting.
I
every
will.
time.
Most of the time,
And
it's
Kansas.
the retired people, like those who are out and are trying to keep that connection, not
Well,
because they want
it's-
the recognition. They just want to keep that
Yeah.
connection.
Yes,
that's fine.
It was like part of their identity.
Go for
yeah.
it.
But
A
it's
lot of the
also
active
ones
duty
that
don't
did
do it.
like 4 years that do it.
Yeah.
Like
There
we
is that
so
too.
there was a guy. We were telling the kids. Charlotte was randomly asking Jeremy about like his deployments and things, and Jeremy, like, we got on the topic of right after boot camp. No, not boot camp. Right before he went to one of his schools, his friend borrowed his calling card because we used to have to use calling cards when we weren't home, like because cell phones were expensive and all that. He like had this calling card. It's like a credit card because you just use it and then you pay it off. His friend wrote down the number, like his ID number for his card, and made an in-flight call to his girlfriend using the card. So Jeremy gets home from school, like, and he's visiting his dad. He's like, "Why'd you have an $800 phone bill?" And he's like, "What?" And so we start talking about this guy, and he never paid Jeremy back. Jeremy like figured out who it was and called him. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, man." Never called him back. And so I was like, "Are you in touch with him?" He's like, "Actually, randomly, he like friended me some years back." And so he went and looked, and he had like the Marines and like all the things
veterans.
about like being in the and I mean he had 4 years, which nothing wrong with that. I mean they're proud of their service and whatever, but it's just kind of like funny the difference between those that serve for like 4 years. Maybe because our husbands stay so long, they get jaded and they're just like, yeah, whatever. I'm just
Right.
don't pay no attention to me.
Just let me be. Just
I think it's also like two different kinds of people, right? Like people always ask me and they're like, "Oh, why like does Sam not have any like things like paddles and plaques and stuff?" I'm like, "Yeah, no, he does, but it's like under beds and in closets." And I'm like, "Oh, you want to hang it up?" If he really wanted it up, I'd put him up, but he does not want it up. Yeah. And so we have this like boxes of things, and he just won't put them anywhere. And he won't even bring them to his office, which is where they should live. So now his like stuff, it lives in one of two places. Like we actually, because we knew moving to Okinawa that we weren't going to have a lot of wall space. And we did also know that we could end up in a place that has like concrete walls. And we're not going to get a hammer drill and use concrete walls for things he doesn't really want to hang up. So we left a lot of his like military stuff there. But, he's gained some.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, this needs to go live in your office. That's where its home should be. You should hang it up there. And he, I've done the thing where you like put stuff in a box and like put it by the front door,
Yep.
and he just conveniently forgets it every morning. And I've gone so far as putting the box in his car.
Yep.
And then the box like comes out, he's like, "Oh, I needed the trunk." Like, so you could have taken the stuff out of the trunk at your office
At your office. Yeah.
Mhm.
and put it in
Yep.
your office where the plaques
I mean,
should live.
Jeremy does that with forks. He acquires forks for like his lunches. And I'm like, no, 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 no. If they're for your lunches and you need them, take them to work. And there was like a whole grip of them that I like taped up and threw in his gym bag, and they wound up in my kitchen again. And I threw them in his car, and they wound up. So I like hid them in his car. I don't know if they're still there, but like he's become even more like Amelia in that he got rid of every placard from everywhere he has worked that didn't have his name on it.
Oh,
So like there were a significant there were a significant amount. But if we do a compound and the boys like, and we don't have the vacation compound, but we have like a compound, and then the boys can have their
in the like clubhouse or something, or like a man
yeah, like
space.
clubhouse.
Yeah.
I was gonna call it Waltzing Matildas, but that's basically a clubhouse and it's closed now, and but it was a First Marine Division thing, and
Sam
anyway.
threatens to do a Viking funeral for his stuff, that he's gonna like put
That's
it
kind
like
of what
when he
Jeremy did.
retires,
I actually
he's
feel
gonna
like this
put it
is a
all in
you
a
thing.
boat. No, this was his own
Right.
idea, that he's gonna put it all in a boat and like put shit out to sea and like with a flaming arrow light it on fire. It was like, so are we gonna start archery now? Like, is this,
Right.
Yeah.
like lights at the end of the tunnel? So like, one, are you gonna actually commit to this, and how are you gonna get the flaming arrow?
Yeah.
Because logistically, how are we gonna do this? And I'm pretty sure you're not just supposed to like light stuff on fire in the ocean. But I'm gonna let him figure it out. But he threatens to do a Viking funeral for his things. I don't know if it's gonna happen. Like, I wonder if he's gonna get nostalgic.
I mean, it kind of
I
like,
mean,
so Wyatt gets things like this. This was hand wrapped by the CEO's wife, who's
you can tell it was
amazing.
done in Okinawa.
Yeah.
Yes.
But this is one of those things that like, this is legitimately cool, but it's also like, that also means,
It's stuff.
right? But he does, so behind me, this one right here that you see, that's actually my grandfather. Like, these are his
Aw.
like few medals and stuff that I got, and when it was in storage and when I unwrapped it, it was like, it was tears. But that's all we have left of him. This one
Yeah.
was him crossing the equator, and he wants to give that because the thing is hand painted. But a lot of
I
his
have
other
one for
stuff,
Jeremy, like right there.
does he? Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it's a thing they have to go through. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Like, I can see why he wants to keep that one. But
Yeah.
he doesn't frame, or, if they give him stuff that's framed, that's sitting in a box in the other room.
Yep.
Like, we have
I think it's the amount of stuff that they get and like
Yeah.
the size. Like Sam's unit
that
that he
thing
was
We
at
right
have
there.
one like that too.
time
Yeah.
in
Although that one's hidden
Okinawa.
for a different reason.
The longest time in Okinawa, and he enjoyed his time there, and he really, really loved his last boss, and they just had like this great working relationship and all this stuff. And they gave him a plaque, and it's really cool because he's been in this unit for so long. But it's not just like, oh, that's a really cool sentimental plaque. It's like 3.5 feet tall, and it's purple and has a giant dragon on it.
Oh,
It's
Lovely. I love
it's
it when it matches
giant.
the decor.
It totally matches the decor. But
where's
that's like a really cool sentimental thing, and everybody wrote something on the back of it, and that's neat. But it's not just the one plaque. It's the like several many other plaques from the same unit for different things. Could we just get one?
Yep.
What if we
Yep,
just got
like
the
that,
one?
yep.
Like we have plaques, and then every exercise you get a plaque or a paddle or a framed piece of paper.
right? The framed piece of papers are the worst, actually. I'm like, can I like take these out of the frames and put them in a memory book for you to just like flip through someday? Our kids are probably
Jeremy
going to
has a
want them,
binder.
but I would much rather have
Yeah.
them in a book than in a frame.
Yeah.
And they spent funds for that frame. I'm like, could we use the funds for something else? Like, not this,
Monetary awards.
right? That'd be great.
That's a better use. Yeah.
I'll take that
I
one.
mean, some of them I think are really cool, like when they've done something really neat, and like some of them are, like the giant purple dragon plaque. That it's cool. It's huge, and so we have absolutely nowhere to put it in Okinawa. But that's cool. But it's the all the other ones. Or Sam has a coin holder, because they get
Mhm.
coins for everything.
We have a lot of coins. They're
And
pretty cool.
that-
Wyatt actually brings me some of the really cool ones.
So cool. They're so cool. He was given one that spins in the center. It's basically like a fidget spinner. It's neat, but he's now out of room in his coin holder.
So now you
So
have
you
to
have to get
figure out what
another
to
one.
do.
Do we get another coin holder? But also, this was supposed to go live at his office, and when I was cleaning out, I found it, and I was like, "No, friend, no. You are gonna, this is going to your office.
Yeah.
I can't get into your office because he works in a secret building thing, and
Yeah.
not that the building itself is secret, but behind a certain
Right.
door you
Spaces.
can't go in unless you have
Yeah.
a clearance or whatever. Do not tempt me, because I will walk right up to the secret door and the little person
And wait
make
until
sure you
somebody's
don't go
there.
into the secret store, and I will have a box, and I will be like, please bring this to his office, and they will,
I love it.
and then
They
it
will.
will be
Yes.
there, and I will have brought it there, and that should be embarrassing enough for you to please just make this box of coins and plaques disappear, please.
I think it's a good plan. I think you should just do it.
I was gonna say I would really like you to do this. I think it would be amazing.
No.
Film it.
Honestly, if we had storage, I wouldn't mind keeping them here. So this is not me being
Yeah.
the naggy wife.
There's no
Those of you that
storage
don't
in those
know,
houses though.
there is no
Mm-mm.
storage
Yeah.
in
There's
the-
barely any storage for seasonal wear, because you do
Yes.
kind of change clothes between seasons, and season activity stuff like furniture or beach stuff and holiday things. There's barely any for that.
No. There is barely any storage for the suitcases that we had to have just to
Yes.
move to Japan. That
There's
was the
barely
bigger
any
thing.
storage for the crap that they have to keep at their house. That is
Yeah.
my
Oh.
number one. I was so excited when he turned in all his gear. This is crap they are forced to keep in their home. It's like 2 trunks full of his car of crap. Maybe it's 1 trunk of. I'm just.
It depends.
Feels like 2.
It depends on
It
how much he's
depends on what
taking.
unit they're
in
at.
Okinawa,
Yeah.
it was more. Yeah, it was a lot more when we were in Okinawa the first time. That house had a little bit more storage, but oh my gosh, they're expected to keep all this crap in the house, and that was my favorite thing that he did so far with retirement, was get rid of all the crap that he has to keep in the house. They should have special little lockers at work where they keep their crap for whatever it's for.
Yeah. Well, and guess what?
Anyway.
On the compound, there won't be any of that.
Because they'll be retired.
They'll be retired. And there won't be any. And it'll be great. And we
I
can
love
have
it.
the storage for other things. And they can have their walls of awesomeness. And we can be specific about the ones that they keep and the ones that
Yes.
are somewhere
Well,
in
they can
the other.
we can have a lake or a pond on the compound, and then they can do their hire
We have
I
to do
think
that
all
because
together.
we got stand-up paddle boards for Christmas, which are still in Oklahoma because we
Ooh.
flew and we can't get them back. I don't know how we're gonna get them
You didn't
right
fly
now.
with it? Oh wait, are they firm? Are they hardboard?
No, but they're 70 pounds a piece.
Oh.
Because of the box, all the stuff. They themselves are not,
Yeah.
but they came with all the
Yeah.
extra stuff.
Yeah.
So they're each that, and I already had, because Wyatt was gone. That is another podcast, but there was a very big surprise for 6 days before Christmas. And Wyatt was not with
Yeah.
us, so I had all of an extra suitcase for my parents just to get Christmas gifts in. And I was like, I'm not paying to ship these. Surely somebody will either come out
Yeah.
or we will come back and I'll
Yeah.
get them in the summer. So, but we will have
Well, yeah,
a
you don't need them
pond,
right now because
like-
everything's frozen.
Everything's frozen. It won't do me
Yes.
any good. Yeah,
It won't do you any good in the frozen tundra that you live in.
it will not. There's still snow
but-
outside. Still snow.
That sounds
Ew, that's
disgusting.
gross.
That sounds
Sad.
so
That's
awful. That
awful.
sounds just gross. There's
I was sitting in the sunshine yesterday, and I was really happy. It was just melting, the sun melting into my bones made me so happy. And it was really nice today too.
had to put on a long sleeve shirt and pants last night, and it like made me angry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I could go outside in a hoodie though today. Like I didn't have to put on a coat. However,
That
friend,
that doesn't sound good,
No,
I
Katie.
know.
that doesn't make it better.
It doesn't make it better.
Fellow compound person, Allison, is very much an Amelia, and she like we pull up at her house and she steps outside. I was like, "You a little cold?" And she's wearing her full on like coat with the
Yeah.
fur hood on and
Yes.
gloves, and it
Yes.
was
Mhm.
just to come out and say hi to us as we got out of the car. I
Yeah.
was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
and Amelia together." We
So my
just
friend that I went to Taylor Swift with, she lives in mainland, so she's used to cold. And she was asking me like what I was bringing and what I was wearing and stuff, you know, as girls do.
right.
And I told her, and she's like, "Wait, what is the temperature?" And I was like, "Well, it's like 37." And then, you know, and the high is like 45 Fahrenheit. She was like, "That is not that cold." I was like, "Okay, your internal thermometer's broken, and mine is correct." Okay,
No, yours is definitely broken. Hers
no,
fluctuates.
No.
Yours has gotten stuck and you wear full on like winter coats at 63.
yes,
Yeah.
because that's cold.
Well, that's because it's cold.
Yeah,
Yes,
see it's not. It's not.
it
Hey,
is.
what is the coldest it's gotten there this winter? At the like low at night.
Maybe like 50 something.
Oh, that's still not all that cold. That first year it got down in the 40s at night.
Oh, I felt so lied to the first year we were here.
Oh yeah. It was surprisingly cold that
Well,
first year.
2019, 2020, like that winter.
Yeah.
I felt so lied to
Yeah.
because it was actually really cold.
It
And
was
I
really
was like,
cold.
I'm sorry, I thought I was going to a tropical island.
Well, and while you were back
So
in the States for Christmas, like it was hardcore wind during Christmas and it was that, and it felt even colder. It was so cold.
in 14, it actually snowed on the north end of the island.
I heard that. But it wasn't it like
Mhm.
sleet, but
And
they
then
counted it as snow.
it was legit snow. There was sleet in like the lower parts, but the other funny thing, so that was like right before we left Okinawa, and then we got into the States on New Year's Eve. We woke up New Year's Day and it had snowed in Temecula and for the first time in like 40 years. So we literally had snow and cold in both of the
Both ends.
places. Oh, it was like it was sad. And our first year in Okinawa, this last tour, it was the rainiest and coldest it had been in 2020 because we got there in July and then August it started raining and it didn't stop for like 10 months.
Yeah.
That was the worst.
I
I had
remember. Oh, and it
PTSD.
rained.
It rained inside the chapel.
Oh, it did.
The rain that they just had completely destroyed the theater that we performed the
Oh, yeah.
last 2-3 years. So like they're
Yes.
tearing it down. They're not opening it again.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, we have totally like overstepped something, Amelia, and your happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
But we overstepped
Yeah,
that. But for your birthday, you got to go see some awesome people. And I was going to ask you where it was, and then one of them made an
Mhm.
Instagram post, and I realized exactly where it was. But how did it go?
Which one?
Just the whole
Taylor
event,
Your
your
comedy
comedy
show.
night, your comedy show.
My comedy show. I was like, Taylor Swift. We talked about that.
Yeah, we talked about that. No, the
Mhm.
comedy show.
That was
So
Claire's
I got to
birthday.
see Ashley Guttermuth. And it was really, really, she's hilarious. And then, like, I mean, I was such a fangirl. So some of my friends went with, like, not because it was my birthday, but because we all wanted to go see, and it just happened to be my birthday. And we went upstairs in the area that it was at because there's a bar upstairs. So we went upstairs to grab a drink. And she was in the bar area, but there's like two bars. This is hard to explain. There's two bars. She was in the bar area we were going to go to, so we were going to the other bar area. And we saw her and we like walked up and we're like, is she just like sitting down? Are we allowed to be in? Like the doors were closed, so we walked up and then we were like, oh, sorry, sorry. And like started to turn around and walk away. And she like got up and ran after us and then came like with us to the bar and talked to
Oh,
us. And I was
Awesome.
right? That's
like,
amazing.
hi, this is like, hi.
Did she-
That's like so cool.
That's awesome.
And she's hilarious in real life. Like, it is totally not an act. She's hilarious. And
Mhm.
just like the level of like wit that I want to be and
Right.
will never be able to achieve because I always come up with the things after.
Yeah.
But she's so witty.
But you are an excellent storyteller.
Oh,
Thank
yes.
you.
So
Um,
apparently they picked on all of them, picked on one of my kickball
yes,
friends'
yes,
husbands.
your friend's husband. Yes,
Yeah.
they
What
did.
what was like
So they picked on him for losing the first wedding ring, which was
which
the
Ashley's
grandmother's
husband has done multiple times.
engagement ring, right? And then they
Oh
picked on
no.
him for like losing like subsequent like several rings of his own that he's lost. And they went on a date to a restaurant and it was too expensive. He couldn't afford it.
Oh
So they
no.
had to call her mom to come and pay for it.
But they still
Ah.
got married.
Oh
Yes,
yeah, no, they've been together for a real long time.
a
Yeah, they
long
have
time.
3 kids and they're doing
Yes.
like their oldest is graduating soon. So
Yeah.
yeah.
They've been together for a long time. It was hilarious. And like part of me kept being like, stop.
The funny thing is that part of the kickball team was there, so like their whole
Yes,
like
they were
thing
there.
afterwards, they're like sitting there and just like ragging on him even more on social media, which I mean he's had to deal with a lot with the kickball team anyway. But oh my gosh, it was so amazing.
I was. There were several
That's so
points where I
amazing.
was like, don't answer.
Just don't answer.
You don't have a good
Aw.
answer for this. Stop talking. Like,
We
and
have to get her on here
he
someday,
just
and I'm gonna ask her about this.
it was hilarious. And he like just kept like answering the questions truthfully, and I'd be like,
Lie, just lie.
Was he? So he was a good sport about it.
oh, he was such a good sport about it. And like their table was literally right next to ours, and they were
Okay.
hilarious and like, oh my gosh, it's so funny, you know. And because a lot of their stuff was about, obviously they knew their audience, right? Like there was not as many single Marines as I thought there would be because the base that this comedy show was on, it's a Marine Corps base, and it only has barracks. There's no family housing, and it's known as like man camp, right? Like there's no
They're not going to necessarily follow her. I think her following is more like spouses and married
spouses,
people
yeah.
Yeah.
because
But there was
that's
2 others, and I guess one her following is spouses too. But like I was surprised at the lack of like single like young Marines were there. There was some like a pretty fair amount, but much less than I was thinking. So obviously they knew their audience and they just like ragged on like, you know, married people and like being married and they're all married and
Yeah.
it was hilarious. It was so funny. And I mean, definitely not safe for children. Like 100%.
yeah.
Got it.
I mean, most of her content, I feel like, isn't.
So she was the safest for children. The
Yeah,
other
Okay.
I could
two
see that. I
were
Okay.
mean,
not at
her
all.
her stuff is not like if you follow her on any of her platforms because she's on quite a few
Yeah,
different
she's
platforms.
not
Like
bad. Like she
she,
was. I saw one where she was like talking about being a thirst trap or something.
oh, I missed that one. I think.
I think it was like women were hitting on her or something, and
Oh yeah, she
it
does
was
get
like a
that
whole
one.
joke.
There was a whole thing
Yeah,
where
Yeah.
she was like, I haven't actually had anybody propose to me or a female
yeah,
propose to me and whatever. But I think that a lot of times is retaliation for idiots who get on and make stupid comments on her like posts
yeah.
too. And I'm like, really? But she does an amazing job of like
Yeah.
taking it back to them and being like, no, you're not this. Or what is it? Something pistachio. Charlotte Pistachio. What does she call her like fake when
Oh, her
somebody
fake
was
wife.
her fake wife, her bearded wife, or not something pistachio, but I can't remember what it is now. That's okay. I'll think of it later. Lacey, you have something special to tell everybody.
So we'd like to take a minute to talk about another military spouse, Jessie Snyder, and highlight her business that she started at their first overseas duty station in Guam. Here and There is a collection of jewelry made using sand and glacier silt blended with gemstones, shells, and other minerals She and her family travel around Alaska, getting to know their home and collect the sand by hiking, paddling, or flying. She even uses sand from fellow spouses sent from around the world for her handcrafted jewelry. Visit her website, atravelingboutique.com, or find her on Etsy, Facebook, and Instagram at Here and There, and pick something up from her latest Northern Lights collection.
Oh, I was just looking at them and they look really awesome. I think that the girls are going to love some of these. I may have to get them for Zoe for her next birthday, but I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we'll get matching ones for Lexi and Clara.
So like tying this all in to the compound, it was like finding a babysitter was legitimately hard.
Mm,
And a lot of my go-to babysitters are like graduating and leaving, and just so happens that night that they were all having a sleepover and being like really, really cute together because they're all friends. But like
Mm.
finding a babysitter was hard, and you don't want to ask your adult friends
yeah,
really because like they have their
Yeah.
own kids,
yeah.
you know.
And then you don't want to watch their kids necessarily.
And like
Sometimes that's very true.
you don't
Yes.
necessarily want to watch their kids, but like, you know, my neighbors would absolutely have watched the kids for me, and I'll watch their kids like 100%. But it doesn't take away you feeling bad, like
Right.
asking
Yeah.
another adult to watch your kids sometimes. But you know, if we had a compound, the
Everybody's
kids could just
there.
watch each other,
Yes.
or because
Yeah.
some of our husbands are antisocial and we're like in shock and awe when they do things like go to a comedy show.
Which was
To
amazing.
rely on some couple being at home,
Yeah.
some adult supervision.
Or at least
all
a couple of the husbands together who would at least make sure that they stay alive and safe, even if they
Yes.
don't have to
Yeah.
sit there and play with them because they can play with each other. They just need some supervision to
They
make
just need,
sure that they're
Yeah.
like,
fed.
someone to call 911.
Yes.
Yeah.
And be able to give fairly decent like words. Not just I mean our kids could totally call 911, but who knows what's going to come out whenever they do it.
So I think what I miss, like, I mean, there's so many things I miss about like y'all and your kids and having you here, but I think like the Lexi Clara dynamic, I miss so much
So
because they were
much.
so ride or die.
Yes.
Like, we will go down in this ship that we lit on fire, we like ourselves, and we will ride it to the end. But also, she had one more cookie than I did.
Yes.
Mhm.
So, what are we gonna do about that?
Right. So let's
So,
fix
like,
that
yeah, let's fix
before
that.
I set the ship on fire, and then
But,
we're both
like,
going down anyway,
we're
arguing
going
about the
down
cookie.
for whatever crime we have committed together, and like we're gonna hold fast, you know.
Yeah.
But equality.
Equality. And
But also, she talked kind of ugly to me 6 days ago, and I'm just remembering it now. So can we talk about that?
can we talk about that right now
Those
at bedtime?
two were something else.
They still are. You should see or
Oh.
listen
Mm.
in on their FaceTiming conversations,
Facey chats.
facey chats. They are
They're facey
still
chats. No, no, Lexi.
Oh.
I'm the panda right now. Clara, you can both
Oh
be
my
pandas. No.
gosh.
no. Do you remember though when we were working on probably costumes or something, and Lexi comes walking in through the back door because we'd kicked them out into Amelia's backyard, and they had the trolls like swimming things that you like dive to the bottom of the pool to pick
Yes.
up the little things, and there's 3 of them, and Lexi comes in holding Poppy, and she's like, I don't know, she was what, 4 at this time, 4.5,
Probably.
maybe
Yeah.
5, and she walks in, and she's like, I'm just gonna set this right here because we keep arguing over it and we can't figure it out, and then runs back outside.
Yes.
And what just happened? What just
Okay.
happened?
There were a few of those moments
Yeah.
that they did that.
Several.
But
But
there were quite a
but
few
they
times.
would
Yeah.
like they both figured out that like we're just not gonna play with that then since we can't figure out who's gonna
Or if
play
we
with
would
it.
hear them yelling, like from upstairs or, arguing,
Yes.
we just kind of listened for a second and then they figured it out on their own. And we would tell people many times, like the
Yes.
dads especially, because they hadn't been around them
Oh,
enough, we were like, just leave them alone.
Oh,
Unless
leave
they
them
come
alone.
to
Yeah.
you, just
Like
leave them alone. They will get it done. And they
Yeah.
did. They did.
and
Well, Emma,
the
even watching
dads.
them during Nutcracker, like she's like, oh, I just I just have to like listen, like let them go and they'll do it. But that's kind of how we parented anyway. Like
Yeah.
wait until they
Yeah.
figure it out.
Yeah. But they did. You know, a lot of kids wouldn't. They would complain. But they
Yes.
didn't.
Yeah.
The dads were like so up in their business
They
though, and
were.
we're like, dude,
Just leave them alone.
leave them
Well,
alone. You're
Sam's
they're like,
kind
no,
of
we have to talk this problem out. No, we don't.
No, we don't. They will fight like cats, and
Mm.
then they will be like, it's kind of like the guys where they can like punch each other and then be fine the next like
Yeah.
second.
yeah.
They will fight like cats and then get distracted and move on like nothing ever happened.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they also are like resolute in the fact that they're still best friends.
Yes. Still.
Yes.
Did I
Yeah.
tell you? Oh, did I? Lacey, I didn't send you the video when Lexi opened her Christmas present from
Oh,
Clara.
started crying too.
She bawled, full on sobbing, like missing her. Do you know what it is? It's a best friend's necklace. And half of it is a bear. Does Clara's
They're
look
both
the
bears.
same? So they're both bears
Yes.
and they make a heart when you put them together, but they've never seen them
Aw.
together. But you know that.
Yeah.
And she knew what it was immediately and like who it was from. And I mean, it took minutes to calm her down. I sent the videos to Amelia, and she was just, I mean, she lost it. And I was like, oh, this is adorable and heartbreaking.
Clara sees the video and is like, I miss Lexi.
Aw.
And they met when they were so little that Clara,
Tiny.
you know, didn't have a
And they
L.
trauma bonded too.
They did trauma bond.
They
They
did.
trauma bonded over
Yeah.
the fact that parents were always gone.
Which is why they're ride or die.
Yes, which is why they're ride or die, because they only had each other sometimes. Clara didn't have her L's yet, you know, just like
Yeah.
most 3-year-olds don't. And so she called her Wexy.
Wexy.
Wexy. And it's only like, you know those things that your kids say that you like don't want them to stop saying?
Yeah.
That
Yes.
was one of the things that she's like just finally now, and like she realized that
Aw.
her name is not in fact Wexy.
Wexy.
And so she doesn't say Wexy anymore. And I'm
Oh
like, don't you
no.
want to say it just one more time?
No, Mom, I don't.
No, that's not her name.
I'm so grown up. It's like, no. I'm wearing crop tops now.
She wishes. She's wearing makeup today. And
Oh.
because my sister, you know, we could do a whole episode on this. I think we actually have one planned about like presents,
Oh, yes, we do.
you know? And my sister, who has no children and is like 10 years younger than me, always gets like the fun toys because she does not deal with the consequences of the toy. So like
Yeah.
Claire got a microphone and makeup
And slime.
and slime from my sister. So Clara is wearing, and you know what? It is good makeup. It's like the kind that's like natural and organic and like gentle on her skin and whatever. But now Clara is like, I now have free reign to wear this.
Which
Yes.
I noticed she is wearing now, actually.
Oh, she does have the 1990s style blue eyeshadow
Blue.
on.
I saw that.
Yes.
I love it.
Blue eyeshadow, hot pink blush.
Nice.
Oh yeah,
It's
she painted
amazing.
her nails.
I mean,
Beautiful.
they can start we're going to send them back to Japan whenever it's time for the compound, and we are going to have them like train at Coco's, and then they are going to, that's the other thing.
Mm.
We're going to have Family Mart and a spa that is run like Coco's. And we're going to
I don't want to touch people's feet.
No, not for us. They can do it and then they can close it as soon as they like finish funding whatever it is that they need to, you know, like one of the people who do like cosmetology school to put themselves through more school. They can do that to fund themselves, or just for us, they can give us the pedicures that are like the amazing Japanese pedicures. And yeah, we'll just let them use that as part of their way to fund their portion of the compound, and then we can move on from there. And then whenever they want to close it, they can close it because we'll have Family Mart or Lawson's or both to keep the rest of us
Yes.
going.
It's gonna be like
Perfect.
mini Japan.
Oh yes.
To keep the physical compound going, we will take a book out of Japan.
Yes.
Well, and I guess we never really explained. Like Katie had the genius idea to do a podcast. And immediately I was like, oh yeah, we could do episodes on this. And Amelia was like, yeah, whatever. Tell me where to be. You two are in my brain and I'll just show up and that's fine.
It's fine.
And Katie and I took that
I love
challenge on, but you know, Amelia named trying to get us like really hell bent on this compound idea. She named one of our mini chats the compound. And after Katie was like, we should do a podcast. and the brain, like the wheels are turning. The virtual compound
The virtual
came to mind,
compound. And here we are, all
and
on one
and that
screen
way,
together.
yeah, coming together virtually since we can't do it physically yet.
But we
Yet.
will. We will.
I haven't let it get. I'm not gonna let it
No.
die.
I'm not letting it die.
I'm
I
gonna-
talk about it all the time. All the time.
I mean, if it's not in Tornado Alley and it's not like hella cold, we may consider moving.
But I mean, well, I don't know. Like, I've got the tornado thing down. I can manage that one. We got it. No?
Mm-mm, no.
No.
It's so
I
invigorating.
prefer earthquakes over tornadoes. I
Same.
hate the sound of the siren. I don't want to deal with it. Nope, I don't
Fine.
like them.
I feel like
I
feel
grew
like
up with
because
them. Nope.
lived so long of my life in California, like earthquakes are just like something that I can wrap my head around, you know?
I mean, I've
It
It
got
doesn't feel as
and-
disastrous.
tornadoes. I'm good.
Yeah.
But think of all how much you can throw away, Amelia, if things get hit by a tornado. It just all goes in the
But then
trash.
it's not as invigorating because like
True.
everything is trashed, and
Yeah.
then you don't
Mhm.
have to like pick which things are trash.
That's true. All right, we're definitely getting on a tangent on that one. So we will not
yeah.
do the actual compound in that, but we will keep the virtual compound right here for everybody to keep listening to, and we can always come back to it. And next time, we're going to talk about even more, and we might have questions from some like very interesting people who are also going to be members of this compound. But I guess we'll wait and see.
Yes. Okay, well, that's all for today. Thank you for listening. You can follow us on Instagram. And next month, we will be talking about monthly military child.
Bye.
Bye.
But really, bye.
Bye.